Hello.
Morning. Me or the music?
You. It's because I've got the laptop turned up full. Hang on.
I assumed, but just was, wondering. I'll try and keep it mellow until you figure out how to turn it down.
We're having a problem with Mark, apparently.
Tell him to try a different browser.
Okay.
That 404, I've had that problem before. So I'm just trying to get sorted here. You guys are lucky I'm out of my PJs.
It is our weekly show where we talk San Diego Comic-Con, con culture, and all the stuff and nonsense that goes around it each and every week, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. GMT. Apart from our incidental episodes, did you catch our fantastic chat with Mike Armstrong on Thursday? We had a blast. Wasn't that fun?
That was great. I really enjoyed the insight and just the perspective that he gives the cons, which is great. His ideas. We're getting an echo.
Are we? Oh, let me turn myself down. We're getting an echo. Who was saying that we got an echo?
I was saying that I had an echo.
Ah, there you go. Hopefully that's not me then. I do apologize.
Anyway, really enjoyed his perspective about what it takes to put on a con, what kinds of ticketing he prefers, how his take on cons and moving out into the city, the MSG and putting on shows at the MSG and putting on shows at the Hammerstein, and what it takes to grow a con. So that was really nice getting that on the ground perspective from Mike. It was a fabulous interview, and I think we got a lot of good information from him, especially for the con goer who's going to be attending New York Con next Thursday.
Yes, well, I mean, it is just around the corner. I mean, I've got a couple of people here in the UK that are heading out, and I know they've got early flights tomorrow morning. Joel Meadows, if you're watching, I know that I know you're heading out there. Have yourself a great time. Yes, there was some echo on the beginning there. I do apologise. I think it might have been me, my end. I do apologise. So I might as well do the intro again. Welcome to Talkin Comic-Con, a cup of tea with Englishman in San Diego. So do check out the YouTube channel. Search for Englishman SDCC on YouTube. Well, no doubt you've found us through watching this. But check the show on Thursday, because it really was an interesting chat about New York Comic-Con. And the guy is always forthcoming. That's the great thing about him. He's just always up for really kind of talking us through about what they've got plans. That something we're going to be talking about very soon indeed is about how there seems to be this theory, this pervading thought that there's nefarious schemes everywhere in terms of getting your money and getting your attention and vying for attention in today's convention circuit. And at the end of the day, there are people out there that just want you to have a good time, and ReedPop are part of that, I think. Well, I think San Diego Comic-Con as well. I think, yeah, I mean, there are some organizations out there that are very much after the money grab while this Comic-Con bubble is expanding, but still, that's the way it works, unfortunately.
I think personally that San Diego Comic-Con, being the non-profit that it is, really has a unique stance take on that idea, where it is so much fan orientated and motivated. So I think that they've got a little leg up on ReedPop that way, because ReedPop is owned by another corporation. However, Lance and Brian and Mike have demonstrated repeatedly that it is fan-based. They are primarily interested in the positive fan experience, which is, I think, missing from the what is the conventions that you have over there? MGM and Wizard World.
So, yeah, the main ones are certainly over here. There's MCM, which put together a number of cons throughout the course of the UK. Also expanding into Europe as well. There's some I think they're going into Germany, Stuttgart, Paris as well. But you also have Showmasters as well. You also have the Heroes and Villains cons. There's a number of people obviously making inroads into the Comic-Con culture, and that's the way it is.
It almost makes me wish that there was a difference, that somehow we as fans could designate a difference between Comic-Cons like the San Diego and the New York and the Repop cons, and the pop culture go for autograph cons and the gaming cons, so that we could have more of an understanding immediately what the cons were focused on. I think that's a bit of a dream on my part, but
Well, some people say you're a dreamer, but you're not the only one. Okay. We haven't introduced.
That was Mark.
Hello, Alyssa. How are you?
I'm well. I'm sorry. I didn't introduce myself earlier.
Not at all.
It's
obviously it's all about New York Comic Con at the moment. Has there been any chatter about anything else, or is anyone trying to distract themselves, or is it all about NYCC at this point?
There are a bunch of people who are not going to New York Con, so it's not about that. My focus primarily has been on press for New York Con. The Funko Lottery, trying to get press rooms. It's taken my cons to a whole nother level. Well, no, I gotta answer your question first.
Go on.
So there have been a lot of people who've been talking about San Diego and when will pre-reg be. We do have a poll. When do you think pre-reg is going to be, Leonard?
Well, I know exactly when pre-reg is going to be. It's going to be when Thought Bubble happens. It doesn't matter. Thought Bubble could move its pre-registration to the middle of December, and it doesn't matter. That's when the pre-registration is going to be. It works. It's so annoying. I personally think it's going to be, if I was a betting man, look at the calendar. I'd say it's the 19th.
That's the weekend before Thanksgiving, the American Thanksgiving. So you're narrowing in on when the forum people think it's going to be voting, because we've had a poll up for about a week or two now, asking our members to vote on when they think it's going to be. And the consensus seems to be the weekend before that. Is that when Thought Bubble is?
No, actually it happens. Thought Bubble is on the 5th to the 6th of November. It's the first weekend of November. So fully expect to see an email end of September. End of October. Sorry.
Yeah, it very well could be, and here's the reason why. I'm keeping my options open for the 5th or the 12th, and the reason why is because the weekend of the 12th, I believe the 11th, is Veterans Day. So there is a thought that that CCI won't have it on Veterans Day, but we're not. With CCI, you never know. So it very well could be on Thought Bubble.
Fair enough.
So we were going to be having a lady on from Thought Bubble?
No. We're going to be having somebody joining us from the Lakes International Comic Arts Festival, which takes place in 2 weekends' time. It's the weekend after. Actually, no, tell a lie. It's next week. The actual event itself is in 2 weeks' time. The interview that we're going to have is with her next weekend, as we're also having our live report from yourself. So lots of plates being spun next weekend, but we're looking forward to talking to her. Now, this was Julie Tait, who's the festival organizer for Lakes. Lakes is an interesting event that takes place in Kendal in Cumbria, very much out in the very pretty part of the UK, up in the north of England. And basically, it's very much focused on the artists and the small print producers. Very interesting con that takes over the entire of Kendal as well. Lots of little pop-up events, mostly geared around the there's like a little arts center in the middle of town, little rooms, little cinema as well. Lots of stuff happening. That's late, and we've reported on it in the past, but we're also going to be talking to Julie next week, and then I'll be doing my live report from the event myself. But we're going to be mixing between Julie and we'll probably go to one of the two first, and then we'll be having certainly a live report with Alyssa from New York, if she can find time. You see, every single time I say this, that we're going to have a live report from New York Comic-Con from Alyssa. Now, from any other con, I can understand. She can take time out. But New York Comic-Con's so big, I'm stunned that she can take an hour out to come and talk to us. No, she is going to be. Alyssa's going to be joining us, hopefully. That's the plan.
I will be. I did have. There was one panel that I was interested in seeing on Sunday, which is escaping me at the moment. I have a feeling that it was something really, really interesting. Like, for me, the Sci-Fi Channel is doing. Well, they're doing the musicians and I think Dark Matter panel, which are the two sci-fi shows that I really do enjoy very much from their channel. But this Friday panel from New York Comic-Con is really turning out to be quite interesting. The Doctor Who BBC America panel. They're also going to be showing, in addition to Doctor Who, some product from Doctor Who. They'll also be showing the Dick Gentry premiere.
Let me get you the name right.
Sorry.
That's Dirk Gentry.
Dirk. Yes. Sorry.
Yes. It's
Thank you.
Odd name. Based off the book by Douglas Adams, Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency. From what I'm reading and hearing about it, I don't know if I'm going to be utterly convinced by it. I don't think it's going to be going as fantastical as the books, and therefore it's just going to be a slightly kooky detective show. Well, we had Psych, so why do we really need another one? What we actually wanted was Dirk Gently, where we had time travel and aliens and gods wandering around and trips to Valhalla. And Dirk Gently is a unique book, and I don't know how they can just do it on a kind of television scale budget. I'm not too sure how it's going to work. I mean, I will see it because I am a massive Douglas Adams fan, but who knows? There's also the small matter that Max Landis is involved, and frankly, the man's a pillock. But we'll move on. And
well, they are coming. They are coming big time to New York Comic-Con with a premiere showing. They're also going to have Samuel Barnett, Hannah Marks, Jade. I'm going to butcher all of these names, guys. I'm sorry. Jade Estes, Moho Ko. God, I can't even begin with that one. And Fiona Dourif. Anyway, but there is the writer too, but there's also going to be the showrunner, Robert Cooper, who did Stargate Atlantis and Stargate Universe. The blurb that BBC America put out was a trippy mystery that thrusts its reluctant sidekick into a bizarre world of the unconventional detective. So it sounds like it could be very, very interesting. Coincidentally,
if anyone's checking that out, can you please let me know? I'm interested, but I'm not sold.
Our member, Doctor Who 42, otherwise known as Kevin, who's also been on this show, is going to be at the Doctor Who panel. Of course.
So
well, I am.
I do know that there was photographs taken from the Doctor Who shoot this week. So yeah, there's stuff there.
Coincidentally, the a lot of the cast, now granted Elijah Wood isn't going to be there, but a lot of the cast is also going to be signing at the IDW booth during the convention, I believe, for two separate signings, one on Friday, October 7th, and the second on Saturday, the 8th. These are wristbanded events. So if you're interested in getting some signatures by these people, you might want to take a walk over there first thing in the morning. Yeah, well, they're also doing signings. The IDW booth is also doing signings for Wynonna Earp, for a couple of their cast members, and Burke Breathed from Bloom County. So there's a high potential for some crowd control issues around the IDW booth on Friday and Saturday. So you've heard pretty bad things about the thing, or you're just not convinced that the Douglas Adams
I'm just not convinced.
Yeah.
See it, I'll let you know. Like I say, I mean, I have had my run-in with the Max Landis ego machine before. The infamous "Do you know who I am" incident outside of the Geek and Sundry party about 3-4 years ago. And yes, he can be hit and miss when it comes to his writing. Who knows? To be honest, though, I think it's more just the concept of Dirk Gently. I'm just curious to see how it's going to actually pan out myself. But there we go. Because I'm a fan of the books. It's just the way it is. So yeah. Right. If you are going to New York Comic-Con, do let us know throughout the course of the weekend what's going on. Do tweet me at Englishman SCCC all your the things that you get up to, and I'll share them on, of course, on the Twitter handle. Do let us know what's going on. One or two people asking where Mark Serby is. We don't know where Mark Serby is. We know he's in London somewhere, and he's tried to join us on the Hangout, but looks like technical issues a go-go. It's just he can't quite connect the streams. But there we go. Never mind. Although we have had technical support on the YouTube chat room, asking whether he's turned it off and turned it back on again. Yes, he has. That's as good as IT gets. But yes, he has turned it off and turned it back on again, and it hasn't quite worked. Okay. So that's New York Comic-Con. Loads of things. I mean, is there anything else that you want to very quickly talk about with NYCC before we move on?
Oh, I could certainly go into a bunch of the different booths. Aftershock Comics, for example, has got a Garth Ennis signing. Brian Azzarello is going to be signing, as is Adam Glass. I'm not as familiar with Adam Glass and Joe Pruitt, but certainly the Brian Azzarello and Garth Ennis signings are a major coup for Aftershock to have in their booth.
Very quickly, Adam Glass is I believe he's the writer of Rough Riders, which is a series which, if you're a fan of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, it's very much in that kind of gear, in that of some American, but these aren't fictional characters. These are actual American icons of history brought together to form a spy network, certainly in that kind of steampunk world. Actually, it's a very good book. I've been enjoying the issues that I've read. Joe Pruitt, by the way, is the CEO and chief publisher of Aftershock, but he also is right. He's a legendary editor and writer for DC, Marvel. The man has got a resume as long as my arm, but he's also writing for Aftershock a great book at the moment called Black Eyed Kids, which is very, very cool. certainly recommend checking it out. So no, some great talent showing
that explains. They actually have a panel at New York Con called Past, Present, and Future, which is Mike Martz, who we've interviewed on the show before, Joe Pruitt, CEO, Adam Glass, Brian Azzarillo, Juan Doe, and Mark Zagari. And it talks, I believe it's going to be an introduction and a talk about where they are and where they're going, which would be a very nice panel to cover. I'm going to see if I can get to that one. It's at 8 o'clock at night.
That will be interesting, if anything, because at the moment, I mean, we're talking 1 year of Aftershock now. I did an interview with Joe Pruitt at ICE about 2-3 weeks ago, and we're now at that point in the publishing of Aftershock comics, which is very interesting because they're now starting to really have their first kind of breakout issue hits. Certainly, Animosity is becoming the breakout hit of Aftershock, released 12 months into its publishing history, written by Marguerite Bennett. Brilliant book. Certainly recommend that. But there's also a book which is called Alters, which has gotten a lot of attention because it features a trans character in its lead role. A lot of people have been asking whether it's right for a non-trans writer to take this topic on, and whether they have the wherewithal to kind of discuss the topics that that kind of character can present in the framework of the comic. So it's a very controversial title, but the fact that this can happen now in Aftershock's publishing history, I think, no, you're right. It's going to be interesting to see what they talk about at that panel. I think that's going to be an interesting one. Cool.
That will be an interesting one. The Valiant booth has got a bunch of, they've got Aftershock Comics, excuse me, has got a bunch of exclusives, and they even have an enamel pin. So I'm definitely going to be stopping by there. And Leonard, if everybody can't see, Leonard is going, please, I have a list.
If you can have a word with Joe and Mike, and just drop my name, for God's sake. Just, yeah.
Oh, you want the sweatshirt? Is that what it is? It's still about the sweatshirt. Anyway, so yes, they're definitely on my list. To try and fit people in. I tell you, the one thing that I'm really not quite sure about is there's going to be another VR experience for the Amazon show Man in a High Castle. And I would love to see a comparison of try the Star Trek Bridge Crew VR experience I had at Star Trek Missions alongside the Man in a High Castle VR experience. So that's it. Trying to get through those lines, since I don't quite have a press pass for that yet, is going to be a little bit tricky. So that's why I'm hesitating on saying, oh yes, definitely I'll be able to get you your Aftershock things regardless.
Well, that's what I want to talk about then very quickly when it comes to press then. And because the one thing I learned, I've only done it 2 years, remember, I'm a newbie at all of this, but I have discovered it's all about time management. How's it coming together?
It's difficult. What I'm finding is that I need to employ all of those old skills I had when I was a freehand stagehand and time management, and when am I going to be able to fit this gig in and that gig in, and how am I going to be able to do that? So it's tricky. How fast can I walk from MSG to the Javits? Thank you, NYCC Fit. I have a feeling I'm going to be heavy into that one. But it's coming together. I'm managing to try and get an idea about what I want to accomplish, and I think that's the hardest thing. And that would be my advice to anybody who newer who's going to conventions, is decide what's most important to you, and focus on that. Make that your priority, and then build everything else around it. Like this VR experience is is high on my list of things, but also getting to Aftershock Comics and the Stanley collectible booth is important to me also, and getting Leonard's his Aftershock sweatshirt.
Don't wait. As I've said to everybody who's offered, don't take me as any kind of priority. All right, sort yourself out first. But anything you can get me, I'll take off your hands. But there we go. No, but I really do hope you have a good time. And like you say, I mean, just take a moment to breathe and kind of work your way through it. I think you'll be fine. I mean, certainly, I'm certain that. I mean, we've got Andy Babat who's watching at the moment. I'm certain he can give you some advice. Nerd Food Guys, I'm certain can give you some advice. Certainly when it comes to time management, just take a breath, and I'm certain it'll be fine. I think Super Cat Chick is watching as well. I'm certain they'll be able to help you out as well. I can only say try and enjoy it, but I don't know how to balance between being an attendee, being a press, being so.
I have one advantage in that I have a 17-year-old minion who is in the doghouse, who I can say, go do that for me.
Fair enough.
Because I brought you. And I just got yelled at from the other room. I don't care.
Hi.
I don't care.
Okay. Right. So like I say, have yourself a great time. Everyone who's going, have yourself a fantastic time at New York. That happens next week. Hopefully we'll be catching up with Alyssa at some point and having half an hour, 40 minutes with her, just wandering around and getting some of the vibe of New York Comic-Con. That's next week's episode. Right, something I wanted to touch on. We'll just do about a 5-10 minute conversation about this. This is a topic that came up in conversation on our chat with Mike Armstrong on Thursday, certainly regarding an article that was posted on Hollywood Reporter. And if I can just pull this up, I might actually be able to screen share it as well, so at least people can kind of see it. This is Stars Getting Rich Off Fan Conventions, How to Take Home Garbage Bags full of $20 bills. This is basically an article discussing how celebrities are making quite a sizable wodge of cash from attending conventions, and they're making as much money as the actual shows which are paying their daytime rate as it is. One of the comments that came out was this has been a big contentious thing. This was from Stephen Amell, who said, if somebody wanted to do a convention every weekend, they could make more on the convention circuit than their episodic fee. The actor, who is said to have irked traditional agents by competing with them by starting his own talent agency, WAFA Entertainment, said he wanted to control the whole front and back end of my operation. I didn't see a need for representation. One source deeply involved in the convention circuit estimates Amell walks away with $250,000 a weekend, more than he makes per episode for Arrow. Now, he then did appear on Facebook to do a Facebook Live to just kind of like talk about the updates for the show. And in the meantime, he also made various disparaging comments about this article. But I think it does, I mean, even if you just kind of take away the inflation of what the article says, and there's definitely a tone about this article which says these people shouldn't be making this amount of money. It's just a ludicrous amount of cash. Norman Reedus looking at a $20,000 guarantee, possible $500,000 per weekend. Yes, there's some insane amounts of money involved, and it's across the board. But I've been talking about this with a couple of people this weekend and this week, and there's several things that have come off the back of the conversations. Number one, there are a number of lower tier people. We're not just talking your Stephen Amells of the world and your Norman Reeduses, but there are people that certainly take convention appearances as a major part of their income. They may have had a very small part on a show some point back in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. We can talk David Prowse from Star Wars, who has been slighted by Lucasfilm and the various Star Wars entities. And his whole income really is his appearances at conventions. I can't ever deny somebody that kind of problem. I don't with that kind of problem, with that kind of that income stream. At the end of the day, that's what they choose to do. And likewise, it's also what the case of that people are forced to pay this amount of money to have an interview or speak to somebody or have a photograph with somebody. At the end of the day, it's what you feel comfortable with paying. So I have no problem with it. Sometimes the prices can be a little bit inflated and can feel a little bit of a money grab. But at the end of the day, if you have the feeling and the desire to pay that amount of money, then surely somebody has the right to then take that money off you. It's all. I mean, you can never ever turn around and say that some people will be coming to a convention purely for the love of meeting somebody. At the end of the day, there's maybe some financial gain to some reward in that regard. I mean, have you done any autographs? I mean, I know you've had a couple of photo opportunities with people like Kevin Smith, I know, but you've never, have you actually paid for autographs? Is that the kind of, or photo ops? Is that something that you've done?
I paid for a photo op with Stan Lee. I have not paid for a photo op with anybody else. It just hasn't been something that I've wanted to do. I've considered paying for a photo op with William Shatner because I have my Star Trek Bridge Crew t-shirt on today. I am decked out, and usually am decked out with my Star Trek fan gear on. So that's a fan base close to me. But those are also people who have done the circuit repeatedly and for an extended period of time. And I certainly agree with you that I don't begrudge them that. And I think as the lady from Firefly said, that while she was pregnant, her name is escaping me for the moment.
Who's the character?
Kaylee.
Right. Okay.
Yes. While she was pregnant and couldn't get any work in the industry, it was a very good source of income for her. So I have no problem with stars doing it on occasion. I think the problem that the Hollywood Reporter was pointing out is that when that becomes your primary profit center, it kind of takes away from your marketability as a star, because so many, and that may in turn hurt you from getting the next role that will catapult you into the next level. So I think there is a danger there for people like the WB folk and the CW folk to stars of those genres and that caliber to focus in on doing all of the signings as much, you know. But that said, I can't begrudge somebody for making money.
No, I mean, likewise, it's not just the people that are appearing at the conventions as well. It's also the organisers, which this article definitely takes a definite dig at. If I just pull up the screen share again, there's definitely this section here which I think attracted my attention, and this was regarding the logistics and the money that's been made by people such as Wizard World, Informer, and ReadPop. This was John Matter from Wizard World. It's not easy. There are huge logistics to it, and it's a major undertaking, but we've got it down well in terms of balancing between the attendees and the talent and the money that comes in to do this. Salt Lake City Comic-Con founder Dan Farr: talent makes more in a weekend than I make annually. Which is a hell of a statement. James Frazier from the Walker Stalker Con: right now the convention market is oversaturated. There's tons of them that we are in some ways retracting for next year. Although I did quite like this comment as well. This was from the Walking Dead executive producer Dave Alpert, certainly in the regards of the suggestion that some studios actually create their own events around shows such as Walking Dead. But they turned around and said, no, to be honest, we'll just leave the model as it is, because not everything has to be monetized. The quote is, what's important is that community feels engaged and vibrant. So long as that happens, we should all be able to make a living and the money will come. That's a rather grown-up way to approach it, I think, because there's some people, I know there are a lot of people that I've been speaking to this week who have just gone, everyone's just after the cash, and that's why the bubble will burst. They don't want the bubble to burst.
Oh,
they want it to keep going, and the only way they can keep going is keeping the fans happy. And so long as the fans are happy paying the money, I think that's all.
Conventions like Star Wars Celebration and Star Trek Missions, and in general, the San Diego model, San Diego Comic-Con model, and the ReedPop model, those conventions will keep going. What may falter are the Wizard Worlds and the for-profit conventions, smaller conventions that are around. So yeah. That's my take on it, because ReedPop has got is doing such a wide variety of products, putting so many different products before its fan base on next week. They've got comics to television to movies to cosplay. With the cosplay championship that's going on. It's just so diverse. I don't think there's a way that it could fail.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
That's my ideas anyway. I could talk a little bit more about New York Comic-Con too.
Yeah, the comments of the chat room as well. Walker Stalker Con is pretty much just people paying for photo ops or signings now. At which point I replied, well, that's no good, unfortunately. If there's no content there, I think that's a little bit awkward. Graham Small is saying that, and saying it's not cheap either, $30 to $40 per photo op for most, which, to be honest, off the back of some of the prices I have seen, that's not overly inflated. Andrew English, I don't find a problem with it. It's sometimes just a price. Now, a name has come up here which attracts my attention, which is Mark Hamill. He got a lot of flack for appearing at Star Wars Celebrations and the extremely inflated price for his photo opportunities. Now, while he did fit as many people as he could in, that's understandable when you've got that amount of cash coming through the door. He left with a lot of money out of that weekend. There's also a comment or something that I spotted. You may have noticed this beginning of last week before. This is a new rule, new law that's been implemented in, I believe, in California, that I think it's something along the lines of you can't charge more for signed books, or a signed book has to have a certificate of authenticity. In other words, it has to be registered, and every book has to be registered. I'm going to have to read into it, but I know that in actual fact, the law was helped in terms of drafting it by Mark Hamill. So he has a very vested interest in this. And he's often talked about the fake person for getting a signature. He doesn't just sign anything and everything. He's very selective about who he signs for. I would like to see his new show, because he's doing a show for Comic-Con HQ, which is about fandoms and about collectives and collections. And I'd like to hear his definitive take on this, because I'm just wondering if he's coming at it from a slightly different model to Stephen Amell, where Stephen Amell is certainly kind of streamlining how artists can make money at a convention. Mark Hamill's coming at it from a slightly different angle in controlling it from a different perspective. I'm going to have to look into that, I think. But there you go. That's my take. I mean, is there any last thoughts on the piece that you would like to make, Alyssa?
I think that having a verification of a signature is a good thing, and I'm just not quite sure how much I trust that verification of the signature, which is what it boils down to, which is why I tend not to get and or buy comics that are signed without them being slabbed. That's a personal choice that I've made, however. So it would be interesting to see how this is all going to play out. It seems as though that the biggest problem to my mind is that what's going to happen down the road, because you're going to get the bean counters and the money man into this. When they see a star or a talent making a lot of money, they come in and they say, okay, we want 10% or we want 20% of your door. It's what happened to the musicians in the 80s and 90s, and that's why, you know, the music industry is the way it is now. So it will be interesting to see how this all plays out, but it's an unfolding story. I have more on the...
I think you're absolutely right in that it's definitely the start of something, because this whole article, while I do think the tone of it was extremely skewed, and obviously we haven't heard the whole story, I think it's the agents that are really going to stir things up. I think the studios like the model as it is, because it keeps interest in the show. It keeps the show going. That's all they're interested in. Because as long as the show keeps going, we're looking at the revenue from advertising, that kind of thing. As long as the show keeps running and the interest in the show happens, that's all they're interested in. In the artist side, as long as they get paid, I think they're just happy. But now it's the agents that could come in and really kind of stir the pot up. I think that's really interesting. How it affects conventions, at the end of the day, that's how our little corner of the community should approach it. I think it's going to get slightly more mercenary in terms of who appears at conventions and how. Picking and choosing could be a norm. I think the conventions will keep going. It's just where the talent might appear. I think that's where we could get interesting there. Okay. So we'll obviously keep an eye on that particular story as that develops, but obviously a little while to go with that before the dust settles on that one.
So let me wrap up on New York, if I may. Well, I got a couple more things. Just in terms of the comic booth signings, we've got a couple of more booths that we're waiting for their signing schedule. Marvel has not, in Marvel's traditional style, they have not put out their schedule yet. We don't even know what their exclusives are going to be, let alone.
They released like their San Diego Comic-Con exclusives like on the day.
Yes, absolutely. So I mean, I'm just glad that we have their panels. So speaking of panels, we've got the DC people have put out their panel lists, and they've got a couple of really interesting ones. Rebirth, What is Next? That's happening on Saturday morning. It sounds like it's going to be a really good one. It's not in the main room, but it's... So am I. Their blurb goes, with a record-setting 12 million copies shipped this summer, the Rebirth What's Next panel will be packed with superstar talent. The writers and artists from Harley Quinn, Green Arrow, Teen Titans, Deathstroke, Wonder Woman. So it's going to be a very, very interesting panel. Yeah. There's the other panel that I'm really looking forward to from DC is Wonder Woman 75, especially in light of the movie that's coming out.
I thought I was going to go somewhere else with that sentence.
We'll fill it in. Where do you think I was going?
In light of the recent interview that took place this week regarding Wonder Woman's sexuality.
Oh yes. Well, there's that too. Absolutely. So
you know it's... I'm sorry, but when they talked about that in the interview about the logistics, well, not logistics, the logical outcome of it. But at the end of the day, it's an island full of women. Where else
Absolutely. I mean, come on. I mean, I was reading Wonder Woman when I was like in my preteens in the 70s and 80s. And what else are you going to do? Come on, guys. What? I mean, I figure figured it out way back then, of course. But
Yeah.
what can I say? You know, whatever. Anyway, those are two panels. That is also not in the main room. The one panel that DC is doing in the main room is a Batman panel, it looks interesting regardless. The other thing that is happening is that Frank Miller will be signing at the Dark Horse booth on Saturday. He is one of those harder people to get a signature from. And if you have something, you know, go Silver Age, go great condition, get it CGC slabbed. You know, this is the primary guy you want. So, but we're still waiting for Marvel signing schedule, DC signing schedule, and Image's signing schedule.
I don't want Frank Miller to sign a damn thing because he is steadily turning into the George R.R. Martin of comics. I want him to go away and finish Dark Knight 3 and kill it. God almighty,
and then
dragging that series out. Jesus. Anyway.
I was able to record the great panel between Frank Miller and George and Azzarillo at Boston Comic-Con last August, and the two of them. It's just one of my fond memories of the entire summer was that panel, and just those two minds, sharp, articulate, vibrant minds talking back and forth. It was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Fair enough.
That's it for me for
Okay.
New York.
We're going to have one last try. I've just sent a link to Mark Serby. Just to say for him to pop in and say hello. But he's typing at the moment. Let's see what happens. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. There we go. No, error message again. Mark, you're broken. You're a broken chap. We're going to have to sort that out and try that again. Right. Okay. We're going to wrap things up with a 10-15 minute thing now.
Well, okay. I do have, at the very end, we'll do Weekend TV.
Oh. Okay. Right. Well, this is where you can jump in as well. Guys, we've got people watching, which is great. Thank you very much, Edith. We've got people jumping in on the YouTube chat room. Brilliant. This is where I need your backup. I need your support. I need your help. And I need your feedback on something that I've been working on for about a month, 2 months now. And we're getting close to revealing this thing. Okay. Project Blue Book is something I've been talking about for a couple of months now. Project Blue Book now no longer exists. We now call it what it actually is. It's time for me to unveil what I've been working on. And this is where I pull up the screen share again. And this is where I hit share. I'd like to introduce and welcome you to my SDCC. This is a project, like I say, I've been working on for a while. This is an app that I'm going to be releasing. It's going to be go to beta in about 2 weeks' time, and it goes to the App Store and Android Store in about a month, 5 weeks' time. Very exciting stuff. The idea for the app is it's the Con Buddy. It's to be a companion piece to the San Diego Comic-Con app that will kind of help you around San Diego Comic-Con. The idea was, when I first put it together, it was something that I had an idea for a line management app where you could kind of see where people will be queuing up, so you can kind of work out where you need to get into lines. And then I had an idea for just a front end for an Englishman in San Diego. As it happens, I managed to speak to a developer, and he turned around and said, "You know what? I think you can actually do this all in one go." And I was absolutely blown away. I thought, if that's the case, if we can do that, we'll do it. So this is what we've done. We've created something called My SDCC. It's actually going to come in 2 flavors. We'll talk about that in a second, but let's talk about the features of the app itself. Let's just go through my little slideshow here. So this is going to be the homepage when it comes up, and basically what you'll get when you load the app is a fully featured homepage, including a one-glance look at a news spinner at the top of the page, which will feature my headline feed from an Englishman in San Diego, the updates from San Diego Comic-Con themselves, their Talkin blog, and their other bits and pieces as well, such as news updates, and also a Twitter feed. Now, the full version of it is also going to feature a curated partner Twitter feeds as well, which you can flick through, which will basically mean you'll have a live update of what's happening up to the second during San Diego Comic-Con. If I can just pull up, oh, hang on a second, where am I going? I should have had my homepage there. There we are. That's the homepage. So yeah, this is where you can kind of have a look at the headlines of the day. You can scroll through, and also will open up in browser to the headlines. So it's instant access to the latest headlines from my Englishman in San Diego, from Comic-Con International as well, if I just bring that. So you can go straight to the latest Talkin tip of the day or the latest headline. We'll also be introducing notifications as well for the latest updates from Comic-Con International. So whenever they bring out dates for badge sales or the final deadlines for a certain thing at Comic-Con, the app will let you know. Okay. And then we'll have, like I say, a Twitter feed as well. And like I say, we'll also be providing a curated Twitter feed of various partners, including perhaps, I don't know, Friends of Comic-Con International, perhaps. Or Friends of Comic-Con will be having it as one of our partners. We are talking to about 20 or 30 organizations at the moment, but we're just kind of working out how that's going to get introduced. But that will be in the full version. What I wanted to make sure is that the free version is absolutely a fully functional guide and con buddy. But I also want to make sure that the full version, which will be coming out first quarter of next year, will be an enhanced version and have slightly more features involved. So that's the homepage. And like I say, you can switch between the three at the top, and you get the latest updates straight there on the homepage. So that's the homepage. And a little bit of an update there in the feature list. The next thing, if you actually look at the bottom, we'll go through the bottom buttons, which is checklist, what's on, cup of tea, SDCC fit, and members. We'll start with checklist first. Basically, it's what you need from your Comic-Con in terms of what you need to take with you, what you need to have to hand. The free version of the app is going to have a dedicated list kind of fixed in place. The full version, you'll actually be able to create your own lists and entries. You can take headings out, you can take sections out. Perhaps you don't want to be taking a camera or lens caps or whatever. You can take items out. The full version will allow you to create your own checklist. So that's the checklist. It's pretty simple, but it's a nice little tool allowing you to kind of have your cake and eat it when it comes to putting what you need to pack in preparation for Comic-Con. Okay, the next thing there, we're going through at the moment. We're creating the list as we speak. At the moment it is a little bit long, but we're kind of editing that together. But that will be available in the app straight out the box. Okay. Any comments? Of course, do let me know. Jump in on the comments, and Alyssa, shout out as well if there's anything that attracts your attention.
I love the checklist. I could use it. Every week, every time I go to con, I'm like, oh, I know this should be basic, but what technology do I need to bring with me this weekend? So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Excellent. Right. Okay. The next thing, let me just pull up the next slide. So, now this is something else that kind of got suggested. This is what's on. The idea being This is going to be a complementary thing again to the My Shed bit. But what I really like the idea of is, if you are wandering around San Diego Comic-Con and you want an idea of something to go and see, but you want to see it if it's available now, I wanted to create a list which will allow you to see what is actually happening right now, and also the panel coming up, which might attract your attention. So you find yourself footloose and fancy free wandering around San Diego Comic-Con. This will allow you to keep track of all of those things you can experience. It's not to replace My Shed. It just allows users to see live the panels they may be interested in attending at a glance. More so that if an attendee wants to scroll through and perhaps be surprised by a panel they may not have considered, and it's running right now, this will serve the purpose of highlighting those hidden gems. You'll also be able to see a full idea of what that panel is doing, who's going to be appearing there, and also see where it is, what time it's running. That's the kind of thing that it's going to be doing. The free version is going to give the full grid listing of current and upcoming panels, while the full version will also provide this, which is the updated panel descriptions and room locations, as well as the ability to search for panels by name and content to see if an interesting topic is soon on the agenda. So there you go. That's what's on. Devil's Advocate, how will it work in areas where data Wi-Fi black spots due to oversubscription? All of this will be stored in cache. It will be available, and also the headlines will be available if you come out of network area. It'll just be stored in cache automatically. Okay, so there we go. What's on? What do you think?
I like it. Any possibility that you've considered doing it location dependent with that that scheduling part, so you could say what's close to me?
It's something that we've thought about, but we're kind of working on that bit because there's other bits that we're doing in terms of location. So we're kind of, I'll explain as we go on, because there's other things as well which we're doing in terms of location. But yeah, there we go.
Just because, as everybody knows, you get to be Saturday or Sunday and you're kind of a little on the tired side, and it's like, well, I'll go see that panel if it's within a 5-minute walk, but I'm not going to do 20 minutes for it.
It's a good idea, but it's something that might make the app a little bit bloated. I'll let you know, but let's have a word with our developers. It may be something we may introduce in a later version, but we'll see how we do. Okay, that's a good suggestion. Cool. All right, so that's what's on. The next thing on the bottom row of the app. So there you go. That's an update of the feature list. Oh yes, the index will be of the Comic-Con panels sourced from the program listings. Obviously, these will be updated when the actual programming goes live. Okay. Right. Next up, cup of tea. Yay. It is going to be basically a live player or a curated player, both video and audio versions of the cup of tea hangouts. You can also store what you're doing in terms of your making sure you don't miss an episode, allowing you to watch the show direct from the app as well, both as a video broadcast, but also the audio version as well. Now, the free version will have the players installed as standard. The full version will also allow you to have notifications sent to you to remind you when the episodes are going live, also as well as updates on the topic of conversation. And also the users of the free version will be able to star their favorite episodes so you can get to them quickly and easily. So it's a nice little player, really. Audio and video versions right there in the app. So there we go. Full controls. I think it's going to be a nice little way of watching the app, watching the show.
So that'll be available. Those are going to be fed to the app year round.
Yep.
Nice.
So it's not, yes, the app is not going to just be something you can watch or use for 1 week of the year. It's going to be something you can kind of use throughout the course of the year. Okay, so that's that. Next up on the bottom, SDCC Fit. We are going to be pairing up and teaming up with Jeff Mueller of the Mighty Jerd and Aaron Neighbors from SDCC Fit, 2 people who are dedicated to improving followers' health and well-being by providing practical advice and positive reinforcement of real, achievable ways to get fit for your modern convention. Now, these guys, they don't want you to just survive your con. They want you to be in place to achieve a healthy lifestyle and enjoy your convention. Okay, they've always wanted to have something in place where you can just really feel good about doing a convention and not just kind of struggling your way through it. So there we go. Aaron Neighbors is saying, look at that ugly mug. Yes, I know, but we're going to try and work on some blurring techniques, so don't worry about that. So there you go.
Sorry, couldn't help it.
The great thing about that is there is pot kettle black springs to mind. Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate that. The great thing about it is that we are teaming up with both Jeff and Aaron to do this. And I think it's just going to be a great way throughout the course of a year to really get into SDCC and get fit for it. So there we go. So that's SDCC Fit. All of this is going to be featured on a website. I'll tell you more about that in a second. And down at the bottom as well, possibly one of the most ambitious things that we're doing, Members Lounge. Right. Okay, this is where I have to really get into this. It's the one thing I've been most especially excited about this. Okay, this could be something which could transform over the course of this app being used. Okay, it could be the most powerful, it could be the most fun element. I mean, the first idea was it was a way to easily assess and implement the data pinning of a Comic-Con map, which we're going to talk about in a bit. But the Members Lounge has basically turned into a mini social media platform, allowing users of the app to update other users within the app about the latest updates around the convention. You can sign in using a member profile created in-app or using a Facebook or Twitter profile. The idea being is that you would then post either pictures, little text comments based around certain headings, such as connections, sightings, cosplay, fresh updates. Okay. This is something we are working on at the moment, but as far as my development team are saying, they're up for it, and this could be something that could this will be working. Now, once logged in, members can post pictures and text of what they see and experience at Comic-Con, producing a live scrolling feed, which can be viewed either as a full collection of posts or individually of the categories in which they post. So the breaking news in fresh update, people and things that catch your eye in sightings, best outfits and characters in cosplay, and you can also share your swag and collectibles, and the most exciting category for me, connections. The idea being that you can then, when you meet up with a fellow SDCC user, you can post a selfie with them, becoming instant con buddies. In your post, you request a connection. That user gets a notification of the request and then either confirms or declines it. Once accepted, the post enters the feed and a connection between the two users is made. The more connections you make, the more you are becoming a friend to all con merchants. Okay, now this element is in development and we're hoping that we can bring it to the full version early next year. But I think it's going to work well. I think it can work. It's basically a mini social media.
Interesting.
I think it can be really good, but I don't know. What do you think, Alyssa?
It's
I think you're in the same boat I am. It's how it can work.
Having done the forum for as many years as I have, it's an interesting idea to bring it just to the phone. It certainly has, that business model has certainly worked for a lot of other people, and there certainly are a lot of people who like talking about conventions.
I think it can work. The free version is going to have the last 20 anonymous updates, so there's going to be no forum names on there. It's going to be all nice, nicely blurred out, but you'll certainly be able to get the headlines out or the latest chat live from the convention. Okay, the full version is going to have full scrollable members updates, full categories. Yeah, that's the idea. Okay, this is something that you're going to have to keep your eye on because it's something that is in development. But bear with us on it. I think it's going to work well. Okay, right. The next bit that I want to talk about then is the 3 buttons that are at the top of the homepage, which is Comic-Con map. Oh, sorry, my offsite, my exclusives, and Comic-Con map. Right. The modern convention no longer operates within the boundaries of San Diego Comic-Con. Okay, it's in San Diego. Offsites, activations, the entire city comes alive. Okay. Now, even veteran attendees can become overwhelmed with the choice and variety of things to do in San Diego Comic-Con, which is why we've included a Comic-Con map powered by Google Maps, which lists and indexes all the key official CCI events, the key offsites, and featured highlighted events in the city running throughout Comic-Con. Okay. MySDCC, the app, will allow you to locate yourself within the city to keep your bearings, while also letting you search for an event and see all the relevant details about the varied attractions across the city. Okay, which means you can then search for and find a event that's happening around town. You can also create your own list in the full version. Okay. All of this is updated from the site as well, so it's all being powered by an Englishman in San Diego. You get full information about that offsite, including the ability to add it to your favorites and also finding it on your map. This is something that was requested by my other half, in that she didn't know where she could find things and didn't know where offsites were. This will allow you to actually find where things are and get there. All right?
Bravo.
Even the mess that is San Diego Comic-Con, this will make sure that you keep your head while all around are losing theirs. Okay? That's the idea of my offsites. It's not only just going to be an index of the offsite events, but it's also going to allow you index the way to get to them. We're also talking with 1 or 2 offsites as well about having the app possibly allow you to get freebies or get live updates about an offsite. So there we go. That's my offsites. Comments? Not seeing much coming through about this, but I mean, someone did mention about offsites earlier. Is this going to be something that's going to be covered by the app? There you go. Yes, it is. What do you think, Alyssa?
I like it. I am one of those people who seem to get turned around in San Diego. You never know, because I'm totally comfortable in like New York City, San Francisco, all of those places. But I don't know, during con in San Diego, just too much following all of the shiny squirrels that are wandering around, and I just get distracted and I end up somewhere totally different. So thank you very much. I need to follow the green line. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Cool. Well, the free version will have a searchable offsites location map. We are going to be powering it with the 2016 offsites, so at least then you can get a sense of what the app will do. Likewise with offsite location pins, information pop-ups, address and opening times. The full version will allow you to find it on the map, which the free version won't allow you to do. It'll just list where it is. So the map on the free version will be more of a where you are in San Diego with the green dots. You can click on the green dots and find out what that offsite is. So perhaps you're close to one, but you don't know what it is. You can click on it and find out more. The free version will allow you to find it on the map, add to your favorites, and also get walking directions as well. We're not doing driving directions because it's San Diego, for God's sake. Caroline did suggest that we're possibly best to include public transport. We're working on that bit. Okay, so that's that. Remember, all of these were just individual elements that we thought we could do as like individual apps, but No, we're banging them all in one app. Okay. Right. Next, my exclusives. This is something that I really wanted to do because I really wanted to have something available where people could work out what exclusives are available. Because it really can be a minefield. There's so many figures and variant covers and booths and retailers, so many Pop Funkos. It can be hard to keep track. This is a feature of the app which will allow you to see at a glance what exclusives will be on offer from a retailer and from what booth. Users will be able to scroll through a collapsible list of retailers, listing the exclusives they have to offer and searching for their favorites from a list. Okay, so maybe there's a Franzetta print that you've heard about, but you don't know who's selling it or where. This will allow you to do that. Now, the free version will have what you see on screen, which is kind of like a full listing of the exclusives available. The full version will allow you to have a look at pictures of the exclusive, how much the exclusive is going to be, and also allow you to add it to a want list. In other words, you can create your own wish list of the exclusives you want to get, and then select it once you've got them. So you can tick them off. So there we go. Okay. The app is also going to send a notification out when the list will clear out in preparation for the 2017 exclusives. When the app goes live, it will be powered and feature the 2016 exclusives, so you can get a sense of what the app can do. Okay.
I do have a question.
Yep, go for it.
With regards to how you're getting data into the application for those exclusives, how are you going to decide what goes into it and what doesn't go into it? Or
that makes sense. When the opening page, the splash page, says My SDCC powered by an Englishman in San Diego, it kind of means it. It's all coming from the San Diego Comic-Con, Englishman in San Diego Comic-Con app. It's a website, sorry. We'll be putting the official Comic-Con exclusives on there. Okay. We'll also possibly be adding other exclusives, but we'll be making sure that people know that they are not San Diego Comic-Con official exclusives. But it's more powered, it's more leaning towards the official CCI exclusives list.
So it's going to be based off of what's on the San Diego Comic-Con website for exclusives.
It's going to be based on their list, but the actual content is going to be coming from the manufacturers themselves, or a post that we create. Okay, I know that there are some people that are signed up for email alerts whenever I put a post up on the website, and I did have been populating the website with all the exclusives, all of them individually, which means they've been getting a lot of emails recently. That's basically what you're going to get. There's an individual post per exclusive, which will allow the site and the app to get a full in-depth post about each exclusive, all of which will be updated on the when it's updated on the website, it's updated on the app. Okay,
makes sense.
Makes sense. Phew. Okay. Right, as long as all of this makes sense, that's good. Couple of comments. Do your friends see this wish list when you're stuck volunteering? I'm afraid not. It is going to be no. It is just for your own use, unfortunately. It's a good idea, but I think that might be a bit much backwards and forwards. Yeah, I think it's more for your own personal use on this. Good idea though, but I'm not quite sure. Not sure how I could implement that. But
at some point, some sort of an airdrop communication would be nice between the two phones, maybe in the second or third gen of your app.
Okay, no, that makes sense. This is Toby. Hello, Toby. How you doing, man? Is the app going to allow for adding private, semi-private events? Unlikely. I'm trying to work out how we can do that. I think the way that the offsites are going to be done is going to be powered from a database which we're creating, which would then also feed into the app. I think what is going to be a case of, if someone brings to us a offsite event which we feel the users of the website would find relevant to San Diego Comic-Con, once it's included into the database, it will feed into the app. So it's when I say it's the idea was originally the app was going to be a front end for the website. It's now looking like the website is going to be the back end for the app. It's it's very much, it's transformed since we started producing it. But so there you go. That's the idea. I mean, I get the idea for private and semi-private events, but I think it'd be more for people to find out about events that they can attend. Okay, so there's that. Okay, let's continue, because there is one other element in there as well, and this is the big one for me. So there you go. That's my exclusives: live updated index, full details card showing details and images direct from the manufacturer, want list, and assign members lounge credits for the exclusives they create. Okay, here we go. The Comic-Con app, the map. Here we go. The idea being, this was the original idea for the app. The ability to find out how long the lines are going, so you can get to the line to a line. So if it's too long, that you stop, you don't attend it, or basically taking the idea that CCI implemented with the wristbands, but actually doing it live with locations of users on a map. Okay. Now, the idea being that you can then put a pin down and check in where you are, a login to either the Hall H line, Ballroom 20 line, anything else line, just checking in around time, the convention center. I quite like the idea as well that you also can then, once you've checked into the convention center, you can either say you're going to an exhibition floor or to a specific panel. The idea being that you can then select on the map individual lines, and you can see how long a line's going, or you can see how many people are in a room from check-ins from people using the app. Now, obviously, it's not going to be definitive numbers in a room, but it's certainly going to give you an idea of where people are wandering around and what they're doing, and kind of wandering around the checking in around the convention center and around the San Diego. The idea being that it's a location tool to help you navigate around San Diego Comic-Con, as well as seeing what other members are doing, such as lines, panel rooms, and offsite. Okay. Now, the one thing that we're trying to work out at the moment is the best way to put the pins down without being too invasive. We don't want it to be something that you're going to worry about privacy. The idea being that you will select in your member login whether you have a 20, a 40, or an hour pin drop, being that you put the pin down. That's where I am. Yeah, I'm in there in the line. I'm in the line. So there I am. It will automatically turn off when you leave that area. So the pin will never just linger. It'll just kind of wander off, leave the map. But it'll allow you to see how long lines are going, or you can see how movement is around San Diego, around the convention. Because I think that's, for me, the exciting thing, that this bit could be, or this element could see how the movement around San Diego Comic-Con, because it is such a vibrant event. It's kind of turned from what I expected or what I planned for the feature. It's turned into something else, but we're just trying to work out how to make sure that it's not something that's just going to overtake the app, but just kind of like allow you to see how people are moving around the convention, and certainly when it comes to lines, where people are lining up. I know Alyssa had a couple of questions, certainly in terms of privacy and how that would work. I mean, do you have any comments?
Well, that was where I first went, obviously, with this, because it's, as long as somebody can opt in and opt out, I think that those are the primary issues. And if you can easily opt out of it when you want to, when you're in the app, say you've dropped a pin, you're in the Hall H line, you decide you need to go off and do something that you don't want everybody to know about. If you could easily opt out, maybe you're going down to grab a quick beer or something.
I appreciate it. The app will never track where you are. It will only track where you've dropped the pin. It's totally down to you to put the pin down yourself. Not only that, but it will allow, if you move away from that area, GPS will notice that you've left the geolog area of where you put the pin. It will take the pin away. Or after 20 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour, it will take the pin away. It will never track where you are. It's only where you currently want to put the pin down on. The other thing that we're going to be implementing as well, that if you put a pin down and there are other members, users of the app nearby, which you can then create a connection with and take a picture for the members lounge. Or if there's somebody that you have made a connection with already, you can find out if they're nearby and sort of like connect and see how your convention is going.
Interesting.
So, yeah. What the one idea that I really had, I liked the look of is this, because we're also going to be developing an Apple TV version of this as well. On a screen, seeing people moving around the convention. So like seeing where people are gathering and seeing where lines are going. I think it could be exciting. I think it can be interesting. But
once there's enough people using it, I agree.
Yeah, that's the key. You're absolutely right. That is the key.
To be honest with you.
There we go. And let me just go back to this because there we go. Right. So that's the Comic-Con app. So my SDCC. It's an app that is going to be powered by an Englishman in San Diego. And it's going to be coming out, like I say, in 2 flavors. Okay, so you're going to get my SDCC, which is going to be coming out in the first quarter of next year. Hopefully, we're going to have it ready for the open online badge registration. The idea being that then people will actually know if they've got a badge and whether the app's going to be of use to them. So that's it's going to be ready, hopefully, for the open online badge registration. But
Great.
there is the free version. Okay, my SDCC free is going to be going to beta in about 2 weeks' time, and it will hopefully be coming out onto Android and iOS in 4 to 5 weeks' time, depending on the approval process by iOS and by Android. But it's almost ready to go. It's scary how close it's getting ready to go. So looking forward to seeing what people do with this app, because this is the one thing that I'm really excited about. The app I had an idea about, or these features that I had an idea about, these can evolve, these can change, the app can change. Purely because of what we put in there, it could be totally different to how I originally envisaged the app. It's down to the users. That I'm so excited about, because they could latch onto one element of the app, or they could latch onto another, or the app could be anything that you want it to be, I think. But I want it to be something which will allow you to have a better con experience, because we'll be with one button, with one app, you can find out more about the event, about the convention, about the offsite. That's the idea. So there we go.
Sounds brilliant, Leonard. Congratulations. You've done a great job in laying it out for us all.
Thank you very much.
And I'm astounded that you're talking about 4 to 6 weeks for the free version.
I know. You're telling me. You are telling me. Okay. Right. There is a way that you can keep up to date with all of this. Okay. We have just a couple of social media things at the moment, which are up and running, which you can check out. You can go to an EnglishmanInSanDiego.com/mysdcc. It gives you a full, pretty much what I've just said. It's a full listing of all the features that we're including in the app. We're also going to be putting the links to the App Store and also Google Play links at the top of the page when the app goes live. So you can easily get an overview of the app on an EnglishmanInSanDiego.com/mysdcc. We've also got the Facebook page, which is facebook.com/mysdcc, which is probably going to be where I'm going to be keeping most of my conversation about what is actually happening with the app on the Facebook page. I'll put the link in the YouTube chat room as well, just so you get the you can kind of go straight to the site and have a look around. At the moment, what we've got on there are a number of the graphics that we've got. All the graphics that you've seen on screen have been, they are mock-ups so far, but they are what the app is effectively going to look like with 1 or 2 tweaks. Like I say, we're still fine-tuning, but all of it is on there in terms of what the app is going to look like. So an Englishman in San Diego.com, mysdcc for a kind of an overview. Let me just put that on the old thingy, what's it? Facebook.com, mysdcc for the Facebook page. And we also have a Twitter as well, which is mysdcc app. Now, at the moment, my Twitter, my use of that particular Twitter handle is locked, because I ended up following a bunch of people, and apparently I followed too many, and Twitter have slapped my wrist for it. So at the moment, I can't actually comment on the Twitter handle. I'm waiting for Twitter to unlock it so I can actually delve in there again. But the idea being, the Facebook page will be where we'll provide the most updates. But if you're wanting to interact with me and ask questions, customer experience, things that you want to ask, whether the app can do, what it can't do. Basically, if you want to interact with me and also our development team about what the app can do, go to twitter.com/mysdcc app. Okay, so that's where we are at the moment. We go beta in 2 weeks' time.
Fingers crossed for you. I hope it all goes smoothly.
I'm freaking out. But no, I mean, the great thing about it is, or what I'm really excited about, is that when I've gone to my development team and just asking whether we could do this stuff, and surely this is too much or whatever, and they've just gone, nope, I think we can do this, no worries. And I'm just gone, get in. I'm up for this. So facebook.com mysdcc, and once again, let me just put the Twitter down there as well, which is twitter.com mysdcc app, because somebody out there has got mysdcc and they're not using it. Swines. There we go.
Well, it's interesting watching you go through this process, because my co-admin and I on the forum have been talking about doing an app too for our site, and it's interesting to watch the process. And you've certainly taken it on, and they've accomplished a lot within a short period of time. It's to be congratulated.
Thank you. I think the one thing that the other thing that I'm really excited about as well is the fact that I've tried to put so much into it in terms of features, and hopefully people, I mean, I'm certain that there are features in the app that you would want me to include. There's stuff that perhaps you think shouldn't be included. Let me know. Go to Twitter at mysdcc app, ask me. Go to Facebook, ask me. Let me know what you're thinking and how we can improve this app and make it the ultimate Comic-Con buddy. Okay. Right. I think that's us. But there you go. Project Blue Book is no more. mysdcc. That is going to be the idea. Are Patreon members still going to be beta testers? Yes. Yes, you are. Also, everyone who did sign up for the Patreon already, I'm trying to work out if we're going to be kind of expanding this, in that everyone who's signed up for Patreon gets the app for free. You
Bravo.
Yeah, you don't pay for anything. The other thing as well, I just wanted to mention as well, because someone asked me this the other day. While I have control of the app, while it's under my purview, while it belongs to me, there will never be a pop-up ad on this bloody app, ever. All right? We are working on other ways to complete a business model, partnerships, a way of highlighting and showcasing elements around Comic-Con, but there will never, ever be a pop-up ad on this bloody app. Okay. Just wanted to make damn sure you're fully aware of that. So there we go. Is it too late to sign for Patreon? Absolutely not. That's if you go to patreon.com/EnglishmanSDCC. So there we go. Alyssa, I think you wanted to talk about television. You better be talking about Luke Cage, because that's all what the chat room were talking about.
Well, that's last week's television. I was going to talk about next week's television. Aside from the fact of Netflix here in the States going down yesterday, which apparently cost a lot of people some problems, I will say I have not watched one show of Luke Cage, and my 17-year-old son is. Why have you not done this, Mom? This is really, really good. It's the best thing they've ever put out. I don't know. We'll see.
I'm about 6 episodes in. I've got to do the back end. I personally think it's very strong. It's asking a lot of questions. It's putting there's room and space for this flavor and this language of television on anywhere, on Netflix, on broadcast, whatever. This is a very, well, I mean, we have some very ethnic programs out there in terms of on all channels. This is adding to that, and that is always a good thing. I have no problem with that. There was a New York Times review which turned around and said that they felt that the character of Luke Cage worked better, or it wasn't as strong a character under Jessica, worked better under Jessica Jones. I actually agree with that. I think Jessica Jones is a more compelling character, certainly in terms of the PTSD, about the trauma that she's faced. Luke Cage doesn't exactly have that gravitas yet, but like I say, I'm only 6 episodes in, so there's still more to come. I want to see how it actually sticks, but so far it's sticking the landing. So I'm personally. Is it
Is it challenging the social norms? Is it really kind of pushing the boundaries that way?
I wouldn't say it's doing that. I'd certainly say that it's adding more of the PG-13 element to it. This is definitely comic book television or comic book live action for grown-ups. Episode 1 features yet another sex scene, which I can't watch with my mum. I can't watch with my mum in the room. It's not going to happen. Graham Small, Luke Cage stands on his own. Yes, he does. But whether he's as compelling a character as Jessica Jones, I don't think she is. He is, sorry. I know that a lot of people then took the sentiment of that New York Times review and said that they felt that okay, so the black character, or the black man, is only interesting if he's a secondary character to the white woman. That's not what it said. It just said that as a character, it's not as compelling, and that may be down to the actor playing Luke Cage, Mike Colter, but he does a good job in the role. It's certainly, I personally prefer the Jessica Jones story, but we'll see how the rest of Luke Cage pans out. Like I say, I'm only 6 episodes in. So there we go. I knew Super Cat Chick saying need the Luke Cage soundtrack. The soundtrack is staggering. It's absolutely stunning. Yeah, I can't wait to get a Spotify list of that thing, because that's amazing. There we go.
I should have watched a few episodes of it yesterday. I'm bad geek, but I will say that the second episodes of Designated Survivor have held up. Heartily recommend that show. there's a couple of other first season shows which have really come through for people too. There's a couple of losers that we're still talking about, MacGyver. Yeah. So, but I was mostly thinking about what's going to be happening this week. I wanted to give people a heads up that tonight is the finale of Fear the Walking Dead, Talking Dead, and Geeking Out. So that's one thing to make sure is on your DVR watch list for tonight. Which of course means that very shortly we're going to be getting answers to the season finale of Walking Dead, which we're all waiting for.
Oh yes.
Oh yes, that's high on the list. The other things that are happening tonight is Ash versus Evil Dead, which I know a lot of people are looking forward to on the Starz Network. We did a write-up on that, a show by one of our contributing authors, and she did a fabulous job with it. And it made me go out and buy Starz. Speaking about going out and buying new video access, HBO and Westworld is happening tonight also. That's another one that I think I'm going to have to just kind of bite the bullet and I just wish that HBO would drop it all at once so I could just binge it. However,
well, Michael P is saying that you can watch it on demand now. So there we go. If you're North America, if you want to see that, I'm not. We're actually, it's on UK television on Sky Atlantic tomorrow. So very much looking forward to it.
The other things happening this week is The Flash, Arrow, Blunt Talk is starting back up, as is Elementary and Scorpion, which are all good shows. The CW with Arrow and The Flash, that's a staple. Absolutely, I'm definitely going to be watching those guys live. There's 4 new shows of interest, in my opinion, this week: Timeless, Frequency, Conviction, and No Tomorrow. Timeless has got an interesting premise behind it and is getting a lot of pretty good buzz. Frequency, I'm not as interested in. It's I believe it's about a police detective whose father died when she was very young, and she's able to communicate with him. I'm not quite sure how that's going to follow through, whether or not it'll be enough for the entire season. Conviction is the one with the character. Oh, and Leonard, I'm going to ask you again. Agent Carter.
Yes. Haley Atwell.
Yes. Haley Atwell. Yes, thank you, Leonard. Haley Atwell's new show. So it looks like it's going to be pretty good. It's getting a lot of good buzz. The one last show is No Tomorrow. I'm not so much interested in that. It seemed like it was more of a sitcom but it's worth tuning into. I'm not sure if it's going to really follow through. And that's the upcoming week in television. I hope everybody is will recover from Luke Cage enough to catch the new shows that are happening, at least on CW: Fear the Walking Dead, Ash versus Evil, and Westworld. Those are the highlights tonight.
Graham Small is also saying that Bull was better this week.
Yes, Bull was. I agree.
Limp first episode.
The second episode of Bull was way better than the first episode, in my opinion. I totally agree with you, Graham. And I will keep it. I will keep that season pass on my list because of the second episode. So everybody, you can just skip the first episode, go right to the second one. How's that?
Excellent. Graham Small as well. Red Dwarf new series is excellent. So do check that out if you're a Dwarf fan. Andrew English is saying, yeah, Red Dwarf is good as well. So there we go. Excellent stuff. I mean, I'm all about Westworld. That's going to be me. I'm going to watch the 6 episodes of Luke Cage tomorrow and then just hit Westworld so hard it's untrue. So there we go. Right, next week, it's going to be a bit of a packed show. Our conversation with Julie Tait from Lakes International Comic Art Festival, and our live report from New York Comic-Con from Alyssa. It's going to be nice and packed. Do join us, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. GMT next week. Thank you very much indeed. Super Catchick is asking, what network is Red Dwarf out on? Guys, if you were watching, if you want to put the answer down on that real quickly, because I'm not entirely sure. I'll have to let you know about that. But yeah, while we do the wrap up, if you could just kind of find out. It's coming out on UK channel Dave, I know, but I don't know if it's coming out in the States at all. So Alyssa, where can people find you?
I'm going to interrupt you here for half a second and just pitch the last two episodes, the second episodes of the Van Helsing and The Exorcist. People can find me on friendsofcci.com/forum. Actually, that's my Twitter handle. So, stand corrected. And friendsofcc.com.
Cool.
And where can people find you, Leonard?
Yeah, people can find me on Twitter, Englishman SDCC. You can now also find me on my SDCC app. If there's any questions that you have about that, you can also just search on various social medias an Englishman in San Diego, and that's where you can find me. Please do subscribe on YouTube for more updates about when we do our shows, and also when we post the information about upcoming episodes as well. Do take care. Enjoy the rest of your week. I know it's been a very long episode, but lots of stuff we had to talk about, and I hope you're as excited as I am about my SDCC, which is the new Ultimate Con Buddy coming to your mobile phone, hopefully soon. Do take care. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll hopefully see you next Sunday.
Bye.
Take care.